part 2 of me doing presidential debate thing, or debate, press secretary Jen something. I'll circle back to you on her last name, but let's do this. Yay.
Here at home, including making our own workforce more competitive, ensuring we are taking steps to protect our own technology, ensuring that...
Okay. Get better security with NordVPN. Just kidding.
We are working with our partners and allies to do that. And so it's a reflection of our strategy, which is that we're...
Okay, there's an ad about to come up. So
we are going to...
I'm gonna have to go pause. Alright, let's continue.
In order to come into that competition from a stronger footing. The strongest footing possible, I should say.
The strongest footing possible. Joe Biden, in that famously strong footing. I mean, yeah, the kids, when they were rubbing his leg up and down because his hair turns blonde in the sun, would famously try to push him over so they can get up so they could get more blonde hair. You know what I mean?
Strategy to compete with China, including the trade policy that John was asking
Free market.
About. Will he retain at least some of the Trump administration's trade policy?
Free market. That's the answer. Get rid of restrictions. Yes, I mean, there are some sensible restrictions. Don't dump gasoline into the Chicago River, Chicago. But don't say, like, oh, signs can only be this thick, or emissions, or something like that. Get rid of regulations. The unsensible ones. Get a libertarian cabinet.
Well, he is, of course, there's a review of our tariffs, and I think trade policies in place.
Tariffs don't help. And I know I didn't say this on the Trump tariffs because I didn't really get it. But same thing for the Trump tariffs. Tariffs are not costing China. They're costing the US taxpayer as imports increase. Imports contribute to a large majority of the total cost of things. Why tariffs?
Place that is ongoing from the national security team, but our strategy has played out over the last several weeks, which includes ensuring that we are strengthening our own approach at home, as we've been talking about, strengthening our economy, strengthening our workforce. That is how we can compete from a position of strength,
strengthening our workforce by getting rid of regulations
with our partners and allies, and in all of the conversations with Europeans, with allies in the region, China, and the relationship with China has been a pivotal part of those conversations. So that's also part of our strategy. And then also you saw some of it play out yesterday in the review he announced at the Pentagon. So it is currently playing out.
So your strategy is to strengthen the U.S. workers. Yeah, okay, how?
We are not in a rush, and we are 3 weeks in, and our team is taking a very strategic approach.
Yes, our team's taking a very strategic approach. Really? It's so strategic. I can't tell you what it is. That's how strategic it is. Let's continue.
Approach to our relationship. Go ahead. Thanks, I'm sorry, I said I'd go to you first. I'll go to you next. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, what? Yes. Okay, go ahead. Oh, wait, sorry. I said I was gonna go to you. Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask you about 3 topics. First being the Federal Reserve. Has President Biden spoken yet to Jay Powell, and how does he think the Federal Reserve Chair is doing his job?
I don't have any calls to read out. I'm happy to take the question and see if there's any updates on it.
Okay, thanks. And then second is, I want to follow up on the semiconductor issue. Given the urgency of this situation...
Oh, God. Given the urgency of the situation, you can tell by the trump of my voice, tone of my voice. I am very, very, very serious, and it is a very urgent matter. Okay, let me tell you what I'm criticizing the media for. It's a very urgent matter. It's the most cliche thing ever.
Situation. Why did the White House decide to conduct this review, which could take months, rather than taking more immediate action? Can you explain the thinking there and why?
Because we have the most tactical, we have the most tactical outlook on things.
Decided to go with this longer path.
Well, I said he's going to sign an executive order soon, so he certainly is taking. We're only 3 weeks in. He's taking pretty quick action. But as is true with many policies, we want to take a comprehensive look at the most effective steps that we can take as an administration across agencies that will have a role to
Yes, he's signing an executive order, but we'd like to take the most action.
play to address what has been a long-standing challenge, which is the shortage.
So we're going to address the long-standing challenge by. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, there's a wagon and it's circling, and now heading back.
It's a reflection of.
Some of the CEOs of semiconductor companies have asked for tax credits and other kind of stimulus.
Don't give them tax credits.
Those like items to be included in the Build Back Better plan. Can you tell us if those items are going to be included in that plan?
Another ad. Oh, God.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, the president met with CEOs earlier this week. I'm not sure. None of them, I guess, were from that industry, but he will continue to consult with business leaders, as will members.
He will continue to consult with business leaders. The question was whether or not they're going to get tax credits or not.
Senior members of our administration about certainly their ideas of what they'd like to see in that agenda. Part of the meeting today with on infrastructure was a discussion about ideas and pieces that could be put forward in a Build Back Better agenda. So those discussions and engagements are ongoing.
And lastly, I want to ask
another non-answer. Wow.
About foreign leader calls. One remaining ones is the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. His UN ambassador posted a tweet yesterday that expressed some frustration that the call hasn't happened already. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us from the White House perspective, why hasn't that call happened and when you expect it will happen?
The president looks forward to speaking with Prime Minister Netanyahu. He's obviously somebody.
He looks forward to. You haven't answered the question.
That he has a long-standing relationship with.
He has a long-standing relationship with. Okay, that's like, okay. Will you go to your mother's funeral? Except she's alive. Thank God. Well, I have a very long-standing relationship with her.
And obviously there's a important relationship that the United States has with Israel on the security front and as a key partner in the region. But he'll be talking with.
Don't destabilize the Middle East again.
With him soon. I don't have a specific date or time for you on that call yet. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do want to go back to the allegations on Capitol Hill against former President Trump. Mm-hmm. I hear you, the president doesn't want.
Let me guess. Orange Man bad. Also, he literally murdered everybody by hand with a ghost gun, and he even unlocked the secret button on all rifles. Actually, all guns that have this so scary 223 round. And then, you say that the AR-15 should be banned, then you say the ammunition shouldn't be. And you say the Ruger Mini shouldn't be banned, even though it's basically the exact same thing.
It's not his role to vote in this trial. So setting aside the vote, the House managers laid out this big case. They said that those rioters were there on January 6th in the name of Trump. So is there any doubt in your mind or in the mind of the White House that Donald Trump is singularly responsible for the events that occurred on January 6th as the manager?
No, it was planned independent from Trump.
Well, I would go back to what the President of the United States said the day of the assault on the Capitol on January 6th, what he said on January 13th when the House voted.
It was independent from Trump. The FBI has revealed this. I don't think you can't. You argue to be the party of science, then follow the FBI.
When he called it an.
Also, during the first Trump impeachment, you always ask, oh, well, we should wait till the investigation. Look at the FBI investigation. James Comey. And now that the FBI investigation is out about this thing, what? There's no FBI investigation that says Trump is guilty.
An unprecedented assault on our democracy when he
An unprecedented assault on our democracy. Democracy. Assault. Okay, I could see how they could argue this if, denying the election. So let's see how she responds.
has expressed concerns many times, repeatedly, even long before January 6th, about President Trump's role in sparking hate, sparking anger.
Okay. How did he assault our democracy?
Sparking violence in our country. He has certainly not been silent on that issue, and will continue to be outspoken about the need to take steps to.
Outspoken? Half of the House and Senate agree that Trump should be put on a pole and then hung with another pole.
To address across the country the spreading of hate and hate speech as he sees fit. But what I'm referencing is what his role is in an ongoing Senate trial. He's not a member of.
What? You just what I'm referencing is this. You're acting like you're responding to it. Well, no, you're acting like you're responding to a question that someone else responded to.
Member of the jury. He is watching. He was impacted by the video, as we all were, of course. And he will speak out as he sees fit in the future.
Okay, I'd like to point out a comment I saw in the chat. Such funny press secretary compared to Trump press conferences, and I agree. Trump's press secretary's got extreme hardballs. I'd like to point out the famous Kayleigh McEnany bit. So yeah, that was a gotcha question. And then she spit it right back in her face. Oh god, let's continue.
As he sees fit in the future.
But when you talk about the future and those next steps, will the impact and the final result in the trial, though,
oh god. Well, the impact, yes, it will.
The vote of this trial change how he approaches combating extremists going forward, working
combating extremists. Jesus.
To build trust and build bridges.
Okay, how do you build trust? You combat extremists. And based off of some of the left reaction to what extremists are, that's not how you build trust and unity.
Clearly that vote will change some of his next steps when he tries to bring Americans together.
Well, I don't think he's.
That's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Waiting for that vote to take action, and the president has asked his team to do.
What? So, saying that implies that Biden will go around proper justice, but I'm sure that's not what she meant.
A review of domestic violent extremism in the country. That's a review.
Oh, it is. It's exactly what she meant.
Review that was announced the first week he took office, and he certainly has been outspoken about the role of hate speech on social media platforms.
Because hate speech, guess what, is under the First Amendment.
He's been outspoken about that for certainly some time. And again, he was impacted by the video as a human being. And he is confident in the role that the impeachment managers and others will play. And he will focus on his job, and he expects they will focus on doing theirs.
Can I ask a follow-up to the schools question?
Sure.
We're expecting these new guidelines tomorrow, but we know that a majority of schools are open in some form already, even if it's just for
it's up to the county, not Biden.
A day or two. So, is the president of the White House concerned that some of those schools right now are open but not safe?
Well, one of the challenges we have is that the data is not great as it relates to schools.
It's not great. Tell the CDC that.
That are open or not open, how hybrid learning is impacting kids. One of the things the president asked the Department of Education to do is to do a survey and get a better assessment of what that data looks like and how the learning of the last year has impacted kids. But again, these guidelines, Dr. Walensky and her team at the CDC will present that to the public tomorrow. We look forward to hearing their clear science-based guidelines.
You just deflected the question again.
For opening schools safely and keeping them open. These guidelines are going to be the basis for how our health and medical experts, the incredible leadership at the CDC, our future Secretary of Education, Cardona, will work with school districts around the country to safely reopen. And that's where our focus will be. But the data and the lack of data or effective data is actually a part of the problem.
Yeah, it is. Tell the CDC that.
Go ahead in the back.
Hi, Jen, thanks. One follow-up on China, and then also a question on behalf of the radio colleague.
Sure.
First, on the president's comments on China, in the past, he has said that a rising China is a positive thing. And then talking about today, his concern that China could eat our
Here's actually a decently hard question.
lunch. Is there any middle ground there?
Well, I think, are you referencing comments from, what was there a specific date you were referencing?
Yeah. Let's see. Was there a specific date? Bruh. Just no. No.
A comment?
Were you referencing a comment? You're like... Me... Okay, so... Me references something Biden said in the past. Was there something that you were referencing? She's like one of those online, like, retail store employees, like... Hi, could you tell me where, like, the aisle 1 is? Hi, my name is, Chair. Could you tell me what you would like? Yes.
Comment from?
Well, during the campaign, I think he mentioned a couple of times a positive. It would be positive to see a rising China.
Well, look, I think that the president's view is that we're in a competition with China, and
Wow. The reality is that we're in a competition with China. His question was, can you respond to this can you respond to Biden saying rising China is a good China? Yeah, okay, nice way to dodge.
And he's clear-eyed about the depth of that challenge. And
yeah. Anyways, let's continue.
So the conversation he had with President Xi was certainly a reflection of that, and there were issues raised that reflected our approach, including a passionate statement of the values of the United States and a defense of those values in that conversation as well. That's his view, and it's reflected in our administration policy.
Yep. Yeah, okay, sure. So you said, yeah, it's reflected in our policy. Yep, okay.
And then from a colleague, wondering if there's any update on the president's order to review the threat of domestic violence, extremism, and also on that topic.
God, these are just the same questions over and over. What will the president do about Trump? Did Orange Man do a bad?
There have been bills proposed in Congress. Is there any particular measure or approach the White House supports already?
Just save it to Congress, please.
Well, the review is a 100-day review, so there's not an update on that quite yet. But once we have a conclusion, I'm sure we will reveal the specifics to all of you. And in terms of what the policy steps will be taken, we'll wait for the review to conclude, and then we'll have more to say, or we'll go through a policy process. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen.
We'll go through a policy process, of course. Jesus.
Does the White House believe it can take executive action to address gun control, or is it going to take a legislative approach? And if you do believe you can take executive action, why haven't you done so yet?
Well, first I will say that, the president addressing gun violence in the country and...
Yes, he'll take executive action about gun violence, which requires laws? which need to be passed by Congress or some state or something like that.
Putting in place additional safety measures is something that the president has a personal commitment to, and his history on this issue is evidence of that. He's obviously taken on the NRA twice and won.
The NRA doesn't contribute to gun violence, right? You do realize rifles, shoot, I forgot which year this was, but, in general, rifles commit almost zero, yeah, I guess almost 0% of crimes are involved with. In 1 year, they were they were used less to kill people in less than feet. Less than feet.
And he is happy and eager to do that in the future. Part of our engagement is working with groups to determine what the steps are that can be taken. But I don't have anything to preview for you at this point in terms of what the policy will look like or what form it will take.
One other one. How much does the president want to spend on an infrastructure package?
How much?
How much?
Wait until it's a process of ongoing discussion.
It's a process of ongoing
that's
discussion. Sorry, that's like saying, idiot. What do you plan to do about the thing? Well, it's an ongoing discussion about what I'm planning. Yeah, you're the press secretary. You're supposed to answer questions, not deflect them onto the CDC or something like that.
Discussion. Obviously, part of our Build Back Better agenda that he talked about on the campaign trail is an investment in infrastructure. The meeting this morning was a reflection of how important it is to him.
The what?
As an investment in infrastructure. The meeting this morning was a reflection of how...
The smarting? Is that what she said? I'm gonna turn on captions.
Talked about on the campaign trail is an investment in infrastructure. The meeting this morning was a reflection...
Oh, the meeting this morning. Okay, I'm deaf.
Of how important it is to him to meet with bipartisan leaders and have a discussion about what's required in states and communities. But I don't have a number for you. We're not at that stage in the process quite yet.
Just one other one. New York City is reopening indoor dining at 25% capacity.
Yeah, because actually no, that's more news, but whatever.
Starting tomorrow. Does the president think that's a good idea?
Again, we'll leave it to our health and medical experts to comment.
Does the president think that's a good idea? Again, we'll leave it to the health experts. Does Biden think a policy is a good idea? Well, I don't know. We'll leave it to the health experts. I mean, put a mirror in Jen. Go. I don't know your last name, and you couldn't tell the difference. It'd be an infinite series. Which one's real? Which one's a human/robot thing?
Comment on specific steps taken by states as it relates to COVID. Go ahead.
Hi, Jen. Thanks. Does Iran need to come into compliance before the U.S. will open up a channel of communication with them?
Okay, does Iran need to do it? Okay, this is an interesting question. Because, I mean, on one thing, it's does Iran need to do this? But on the other hand, it's what should Iran do?
I think we've spoken to that. I'm happy to repeat what our position is. What is our
Yes, good. Repeat it.
position with Iran and compliance?
Well, I mean, do they need to come into compliance before the U.S. speaks to them? And has President Biden authorized the special envoy to begin talking to them?
Well, the special envoy. Yeah, this is why a bunch of people said, this is why Trump was congratulated for not starting a new war.
If Iran comes back into full compliance with its obligations under the JCPOA, the United States would do the same. So that is certainly the first step that would be required.
They need to return to compliance before any conversations will.
Well, we are, of course, there are conversations that can happen with partners and allies through the P5+1. There's plenty to do, and but that would be the next step in the process. Go ahead in the back.
Thanks, Jen. I have questions on two topics for you
Sure.
and one for a colleague.
Okay, so that was an actual answer. Good.
Okay.
Here today. The president just started a task force, and part of its goal is to reunite the, I believe, 545 families that were separated under the prior zero tolerance policy. I'm wondering if you have any update on the timeline there, how many families have been reunited, and if not,
I should also mention nothing has been talked about. There have been no serious questions about the economy. No really questions about COVID. Just, oh, does Biden support indoor dining? I don't know, we should listen to the health experts. What is this?
not if you can commit to providing us continuous updates on that front.
Sure. Well, you're talking about the reunification task force, I believe, just for everybody else's clarity, that we announced last week or the week before. It will be overseen by the Secretary of Homeland Security. As a part of that commitment, we committed to a report coming from the Department of Homeland Security at the 120-day mark.
Yeah, 120 days. Oh, that's you're like, okay, listen, go to the report in like what, a couple months? Okay.
When they've had some time to get the work underway. Or certainly we hope to have Secretary Mayorkas, now that he's confirmed, come here to the briefing room and certainly talk about the work that they're doing, the important work they're doing. But it's a 100-day update, and then it will be 60 days after that. So we are absolutely committed to providing you updates.
Oh, God. No.
Very much. And then on the schools front, you talked about how a lack of data is a problem. And it's my understanding that we don't even have definitive
It is.
data nationally on the numbers of teachers gotten sick or passed away as a result
Yeah, that's kind of what... Jesus.
of the coronavirus. Has the Department of Education managed to get definitive data on this front? And if we don't know that, how do we proceed with the reopening plan?
I would have to ask, right? I would defer you to the Department of Education.
I would defer you. It's a literal deferral. Or... deferral. Here, let me just go. Deferral. Deferral. No, not... Oh, Jesus. Let's just summarize this. A deferral is basically go to something in advance. So, let me not answer this question.
I'm also happy to check and see if that's data that we have access to. But as I noted in response to the good question up here, it is a challenge because it is hard to determine how students are being impacted, what steps need to be taken, how it's impacted this next generation of kids learning without that data. So there is an ongoing survey that the Department of Education...
I can tell you, it's going absolutely awful. Just in general.
Education is conducting now, but I can check for you or connect you directly with the right people over there to give you more of an overview of that.
Thank you. And then this one is from Brian O'Donovan, our colleague with RTE, who's in
RTE, okay, ads. I'm sorry, very much so. Extremely sorry, but God.
I have a special place in my heart for the Irish, but...
Well, I think you're going to like who's in Ireland. And he asks...
I have a special place in my heart for the Irish, but...
Reporter giggles. Trump says, I have a special place in my heart for the Irish. And I'm gonna it's gonna be, Trump here's the number one, Vox.com. Trump likes the Irish Northern terrorist group. Oh my God.
I think you're gonna like this question.
Okay.
He says, the Taoiseach said today that he will visit the White House next month for the traditional St. Patrick's Day celebrations if he's invited by President Biden.
Oh my God. Yes. Someone's... Oh, Jesus. This is the definition of a softball. This is the definition of a softball question. Someone says they'll go to a traditional Thanksgiving party if Biden invites them. Oh. Yeah, try asking Trump a question like that, media.
Does the White House plan to issue such an invitation, or will this event be canceled because of the pandemic?
Well, we certainly have limited, as you can all see and know, public events. There has not been public events here. I'm happy to check with our team on that.
I should also mention she's violating a Biden executive order. Again, not wearing a mask.
If there's any change as it relates to a traditional event that happens in March. Great. Go ahead in the back.
Thank you.
That was such a softball question.
Yeah, yesterday you said from the podium that the vast majority of people are being turned away at the border, but that doesn't seem to square away with the reality of what we're seeing, especially the Texas border, where we at Univision are reporting on hundreds of people being not only detained but released into the interior of the country day in and day.
Oh wow! Almost like our immigration system is broken. Illegal immigrants just get to go right in, while legal immigrants have to wait. Fix legal immigration, strengthen the border against illegal immigration.
And they have been reporting on this for about 2 weeks now, on the hundreds of people being released right away. So where is the disconnect of your messaging versus what's happening?
Okay, so this is a legitimately hard question. How's she going to deflect this one?
What's actually happening across the border?
Sure. Well, I would certainly refer you to DHS and CBP for
I certainly refer you to DHS and CBP or something like that.
specific numbers, which they would be more equipped to provide. But what I was referring to was the data of how many people versus how many people are coming into the country. And as I mentioned yesterday or the day before, it is the vast majority are turned away at the border. They can give you more specific numbers.
Meanwhile, she literally says the vast majority are okay. The vast majority are captured and released into the U.S. But the vast majority, Jesus.
On that, and that is not, I guess, what you're perhaps seeing if you're looking at a portion of the border, but what they are tracking in terms of numbers and data. This is why we continue to convey that this is not the time to come. The president is committed to putting in place
God. Basically, Biden's policies are the anti-Trump.
in partnership with our Department of Homeland Security, a moral and a humane process for processing people at the border, but that capacity is limited right now.
You talk about like illegal immigrants, like they're legal. And if she is talking about legal immigrants, disregard what I'm about to say, but seriously, like, yes, we need a humane way to dispatch of them. Yes, we don't want to send them into concentration camps, now do we? You're acting like Trump is literal. Oh.
It means we're just not equipped to process people at the pace that we would like to do.
The president of Mexico today stated in his press conference that most of the migrants across the border, that, anecdotally, they do believe that the border is open and they can just come to the U.S. So there seems to be a messaging problem at the border with people thinking that the border is open, as stated by the president of Mexico today.
And also, the reason he says this is because effectively it is. Oh god, let's continue.
So how are you getting that message to those migrants at the border, and how will you make them understand that the border is not open as you're stating?
Well, we're looking for every opportunity we can.
By enforcing the border enforcement.
Course, from the president to the Secretary of Homeland Security to the Secretary of State to communicate where we stand, which is that the president, our entire administration, are committed to digging out of the immoral approach to immigration of the prior administration. But it is going to take some time.
And the immoral. How is it immoral? Turning away illegal immigrants is not immoral. Ugh.
And we need to put in place not only a comprehensive approach to immigration by passing a law that will help address the root causes that in the countries that are leading people to come to the try to come to the United States. That puts smart security.
So you're saying basically screw over the entire economy, healthcare system. Basically, you want to redo the U.S.
Security funds smart security at the border that provides a pathway to citizenship.
Smart security. Now, the smart security wouldn't need like a device to actually, make to have like a general protection, and it would detect people, because if it would just stay out in the open, it would be kind of obvious to avoid it. But like some sort of like device, like to try to prevent people. from, like going to the US. Oh, well, whatever. Well, at least that device doesn't. I mean, for all they know, the device doesn't exist. It's a wall. Sorry, I have Brovid. Or Bovid. Yeah, I have bovine flu. Oh god, let's continue.
We also need some time to review all of the detrimental steps that were put in place by the prior administration so that we can put a more humane system in place.
But are you concerned in any way that as people are seeing the images of migrants being released into the interior, they just get encouraged to come to the U.S., try and cross illegally so that they have the same luck of just being released?
Oh wow! Almost like ineffective border control leads to more ineffective border control.
Of course, we're concerned because we don't want people to put themselves at danger at a time where
She didn't ask if you were concerned. She asked, what's your response?
it is not the right time to come because we've not had time to put in place a humane and moral system and process.
Yeah, it's not the right time to come, even though we've not. Don't come. We have not put a humane and moral system in. Don't come. Yeah, that would be awful if you did, because it's not humane, and also we're definitely not unprepared. Anyways, let's continue. Let's do this.
Being released.
Well, of course we're concerned because we don't want
And I'm sorry if this is a little bit behind. It's been several hours after I recorded the last bit.
people to put themselves at danger at a time where it is not the right time to come because we've not had time to put in place a humane and moral system and process. We want to treat people with care, of course, when they're unaccompanied children. That is a different circumstance and certainly one that we handle.
So just bring your children. It's like I don't know.
Carefully and those in care.
Alright, there's been some squirrely business. I'm sorry. I just went back 10 seconds. I'm sorry if this is repeating itself. I don't know when you guys shorted or cut out.
And certainly one that we handle carefully, and those individuals are transferred into HHS care.
I don't know what HHS care is, but let's say I Google HHS care. Okay, so there's an hhs.gov. Oh, it has to do with COVID. Yay. For providers, for patients. Oh, so basically they're going to become... Yay, so they get to become recipients of taxpayer dollars. Yay. I get to go pay for an illegal immigrant because legal immigrants are citizens. An illegal immigrant's food, water, medical supplies, and they don't pay taxes.
But, we use every opportunity to convey that while we have goals of what we want to put in place, we have not had the time or ability to do that quite yet. I think I'm gonna have to just move on just so I get to everybody, okay?
Yeah, God, nobody cares. Just answer the questions. I just want more videos.
Go ahead.
The Miami Herald reported yesterday that the Biden administration is considering travel restrictions on states like Florida to help stop the spread of the coronavirus. Can you rule that out, or is that, as they say, on the table?
Well, I've seen those reports. We are always considering what steps are necessary.
We're always considering steps. It's a yes or no question. Are you considering restricting flight to and from Florida? Yes, okay. Okay, next question.
To keep the American people safe, but we are not
Look at this non-answer.
Currently in the process of no decisions have been made around additional.
Okay, here. Those of you who are over 21, I think it is. I don't know. I just probably stay up too late. Go to like an hour press conference. Go to the in a week. Go to your press conference. Take a very, very small drink of of your drink of choice. Don't make it too strong. Anytime the press secretary says or I promise you will regret it. Or you get smashed.
Additional public health measures that would delay or would change, I should say, domestic travel considerations.
Regarding the
Actually, I think that's against the Constitution, because I'm pretty sure, if I do remember, you have the freedom to travel anywhere you want without restriction, or at least in the country.
regarding the domestic travel, also going back to the border, does the president support leaving the southern border open to migrants even before he would even consider this idea of domestic travel restrictions?
Okay, so how do you think she's going to respond? A, she's going to dodge the question. B, we'll circle back to you. C, actually legitimately answer the questions. Or B, she'll actually turn out to be Stalin in disguise and murder all the reporters. Oh, actually, this is going to become very almost done. So, final question. Actually, no. Yeah, final question.
Well, the border is not open. We are.
Well, there are several reports of migrants crossing the border, and several local Texas health officials have expressed concerns that there are migrants coming over the border who have not been tested by the authorities.
Well, let me reiterate what I've done in here. I know different people are in here different days, so I'm certainly happy to do it again. First, the majority of people who come to the border are turned.
Just repeat yourself. Stop saying, "Oh, I already said this." Goddamn.
Away. And we are enforcing our laws at the border, but we are.
Yeah, that's what you said with the girl who said, yes, several migrants are getting released into Texas.
Also doing it or attempting to do it in a humane way. And so this is not, again, the time to come.
A humane way. Meanwhile, denying legal immigrants access is, you called inhumane.
We have, of course, I would refer you to DHS and CBP who can outline.
Reflection. Jen something uses reflection. It's super effective. Public uses criticize. It's super effective. White House uses no, she doesn't. She answers questions.
Line more specifics, but when long-term holding solutions aren't possible due to COVID-19 capacity limitations.
Okay, wait, is this like an actual clear housing or clear housing? Clear answer.
Other reasons, some migrants are processed for removal, provided a notice to appear, and wait within the U.S. to await an.
No. What? Wait. Okay, so what she just said is migrants will be, or illegal immigrants, not actual, like, legitimate immigrants. Illegal immigrants will be held and then skip the entire line. Oh my god.
An immigration hearing. These have been incredibly narrow and limited circumstances in which they've happened recently. And I'd certainly send you to the Department of Homeland Security for more specifics and numbers and
reflection
data, which they're just more equipped to provide.
Would you agree that it's humane to sort of institute mandatory testing for these migrants that are being released?
Again, I would send you to them to give more outlines of the numbers and the specifics of what actions are taken at the border, and I'm sure they're happy to answer your questions.
And just to follow up, the president spoke with the president of China's Xi Jinping and said that he addressed the human rights abuses. Does the president support American companies doing business in China to express the same reservations about those abuses?
Okay, so I'm gonna leave you with the answer in the next video. Okay, bye.